Hey guys, it's here bringing you another video and a welcome to a viewer spectate. And this one I'm actually kind of semi-excited about. Well, I'm excited for all of them, obviously. But with the... it's a bit of a weird thing to maybe say, but Medusa, who is a wonderful community member, first time doing a viewer spectate, and I think actually bought two of them at the same time. So there should be another Medusa one maybe in the next couple of weeks. And then hopefully they'll hear what I'm saying in this video, take it as what they can, and maybe in the next video we'll see some improvements here or there, and then the next video could be an update. But Medusa, and I don't think they'll mind me saying because they told me, is actually over 50 years old. Now that isn't too old, but it's old for a League of Legends player. But I will say I love it, and I love to hear that someone who is over 50 is enjoying solo queue, is playing solo queue, and is actively trying to get a bit better, because why not? So the first thing to say is what's going on here. So we are top lane Teemo, walking our way all the way to bot lane, having a fight with a severe at level 1. This is, by the way, whoa, mamma mia. This is Iron 2, so, you know, as for expectations of ranking, obviously Iron 2 is not the highest. I think, obviously, you know, it's going to be quite obvious what I'm going to say here. Don't do that. In essence, the only way that I would ever say it would be worth doing that type of play is almost if it was a guarantee that you're going to end up with one. And I would say maybe not even one. Maybe it has to be more than one kill or assist. Because you are playing Teemo. You're versus a Fiora. That's an advantageous range versus melee matchup with an ignite advantage. But now, you're going to be down on XP. She's got to level 2 for free. It is pushing to you, so hopefully we can get a bit of like a slow push or a freeze off. Your range advantage, you still have it, but flash is still quite important because majority of melee characters, their absolute all-in is better than range champions, naturally. So flash is a very powerful thing and is a useful thing to keep, you know, in your back pocket against something like a Fiora. And obviously the big advantage is ignite. Ignite obviously is a major thing for Teemo to push over the edge his early damage. So the only way that I would say if you reverse that play, would I say it would be the absolute worst thing in every situation? No. But where I'd say I would have stopped myself from doing that is you were going alone. If you were running down there and, you know, your bot lane was fighting and the enemy team's distracted, but you're running with your Shyvana and even Veigar and you're going as a unit and you're going to outnumber them at level 1, you could argue maybe fair enough. Because you were alone, you're going to end up outnumbered eventually. And that's kind of what happened. So, a very simple thing. Obviously, you know yourself that probably was, you know, it was a funny play. But yeah, in terms of what should a top laner do, and that sometimes, no matter what champion you're playing in top lane, you do sometimes need to think that I would fight this. I'd 100% fight this. But be careful. Good blind. Boom. So again, good decision to fight it. Bad decision by Mrs. Fiora. The melee damage. The blind was well timed. You know, you were very low, and that gave her a confidence of, I can fight this. But she didn't realize, one, you kept your blind, and two, the minion damage in early game is quite substantial. So overall, that's nice. Bad TP by Fiora, by the way. She TP'd on the wave, but now the wave's ignored her and actually gone into tower. She also didn't prioritize a cannon. So again, reiterate the point. We are in Iron 2 on EU West. You know, it's slightly below average in terms of percentage numbers, but the majority of these people, it is worth mentioning, who is the type of person that is Iron 2? Well, some of you watching this will be that, but majority of people are people that are just playing socially or casually, but they don't want to play normals. You know, it's kind of like eventually when my time is done and I'm not playing League anymore, whatever game that I turn to in 10 years time, let's say, and I've got my career job and I'm not playing games for a living anymore, but I'm playing games in my spare time, I'm still going to be a ranked player. Like, that's just ingrained in me. I'd rather play ranked than normals. And there's a lot of people like that. And that's a lot of these people. They want to play ranked. They want to play some solo queue, but it's not the be and end all. You know, they'll have a 9-to-5 job. They have probably got kids, whatever it may be. Like, they've got other stuff going on, and they're just playing a few games of solo queue every other day and having a bit of fun. And yeah, if they improve, they rank up a bit, great. But that's not their priority. And I think the thing that sometimes I feel, even I sometimes can get sucked into, is, in the end of the day, League is just, it's a video game, you know? It just straight up is a video game. And a lot of people are using this as an outlet to whatever their life is going on, and they can use it as a distraction almost. And that's really good. So, you know, where the quality isn't the highest in some places, it's okay. So, gank by Jarvan. I think you can survive this. Level 6, put a mushroom down if you can. Ooh, okay. So, you can see here, boom, we just leveled mushroom. So, what that tells me is there's a potential world that we're not control pressing keys to level up. This Jarvan really wants you, holy moly. So during combat, if you watch me playing for a, you know, diamond or whatever type of player, during if you put me onto that Teemo in this situation, what would I have done? I would have hit level 6 during the combat. I would have control R'd, which is the default, or if you press control, press R. When you level up, that is to rank up a spell. So during combat, you don't have to click to level it up. You can press control R during combat, level it up, throw a mushroom down, and honestly, that Fiora would have been in semi-trouble if you managed to get the mushroom off. I'd go get them. So what I'd do potentially now, you know Fiora doesn't have TP, I'd fight her. So I would 100% look to fight her in the near future, either forcing her to go back, or I think there's a very high chance you'll get a kill. Your Ignite is back up, your Flash is even up, which are two major things. Obviously, our farm is suffering a little bit because of realistically the level 1 play. So I think what you want to try and do, especially when she doesn't have TP, the easiest way to catch up in farm is killing your opponent. Because when they're dead, you in theory gain farm and they don't. So right now, I would personally look to fight the Fiora. I wouldn't just freely farm here. I'd be a bit more aggressive, looking to get a kill. So it's probably now not in the realm of possibility because we're under tower and Teemo cannot tank a tower. But that's just what I would potentially do, especially if Fiora stays. Now, Fiora should... Oh, you hit a mushroom. I'd go for this. I'd really go hard for this. Ignite has been used. Obviously, we have a bit of bugs. I think she's dead. If she's dead, fantastic. She's wonderful. Good job. You get your team your 3rd kill. You do get the kill. She is one thing, you know, every player in League typically has patterns. This Fiora has a very big pattern. And what is it? She opens a fight with W. And she may be opening just out of instinct. Or if you, as Teemo, are having a pattern, and I would say so far you have been a little bit, you open combat pressing Q. So, you know, she may just do it naturally as well. You both just might use an ability to begin the fight. But sometimes what I would do as something like a team, if you're having a pattern of the opponent pressing W, blocking you every time that combat starts, don't open with Q. Wait a second. Let her use the W, and then you can use your Q freely. She ain't going to block it. So that's what, you know, recognize a pattern. I would say especially the lower rank you go, the more likely players are going to have patterns. Because, again, it's about comfort level. The less comfortable you are playing League, which typically will be the lower... That guy's name, I just noticed. Okay. Don't Google him. But yeah, typically, the lower rating you go, typically the less comfortable somebody will be. And if they're not as comfortable, they, in theory, will have quite an obvious play pattern that they try to do every single game. Whoa, whoa, we have opened with ultimate and then W. So, like, this Fiora's play pattern, I think is, as I've said, a little bit obvious. She opens with abilities. Even if it isn't a good idea right now, push this. Like, honestly, go and attack her. She now doesn't have W. She doesn't have ulti. That's her major 2 crazy things that are scary. So where I would say you could be an improvement straight away with this kind of commentary is be more aggressive. Honestly, I think you could be in this lane specifically. You could push this way harder. The moment that she doesn't have W, she has no damage denial left. She can't deny your Q. She can't deny a mushroom if you put one on yourself and she goes into you. You can really use that. You can really push that advantage because she is not adjusting her playstyle whatsoever. She's going in, like, I can guess right now, by the way, she's going to press W in a few seconds. Like, she'll open with it. We did just want to see Jarvan nearby, by the way. There's the W. Every time it's the same. So recognize that pattern. So what I would say, if Medusa's got another commentary in the next couple of weeks, what, you know, it doesn't have to be a Teemo game, whatever it may be. If we're watching it and I can detect a pattern of what your opponent's doing practically every time, I'd like to see you reacting to that pattern. So in this game, Fiora's pattern is she blows her ability at the beginning, the W especially, because I think either she's trying to do some form of range damage, or I think what she's expecting is, well, she might be using it technically for the slow, because it's a range versus melee matchup. She might be expecting you as a Teemo to open with your Q, so she might be, I'm going to block it straight away. Or there might just not be much thought going on in general, but it's a pattern nonetheless. So you should be recognizing that and using that to your advantage. So again, another W. The moment, so put it this way, if this was Master and I was against a Fiora doing that, I'd be like on her butt all the time the moment she doesn't have W, because that's a major thing. Major W can block your blind, which is a big thing, blocking an auto attack, or she keeps wasting it. So potential big fight happening soon. You've got your Shyvana. We're waiting in a bush. I don't know why. Maybe they think Jarvan's just in here. He's not. Let's go for a kill. Here we go. So Shyvana's going to take the direct approach. I like this. You go. I'm not going to go direct approach. I'm going to just go over to the left a bit, kind of being a bit of a block, and then she's dead. So yeah, that was good. Pretty simple. Fiora obviously did not notice in time. Isn't putting vision down, presumably. Obviously, that's a very natural thing. The lower rating you go, vision suffers a lot. A lot of lower rated players do not value vision very highly. You can see the Fiora's pinging a lot, by the way. Yeah, a lot of people in low rating do not value vision because, well, if I buy a control ward, that's not my item, that's not damage. But majority of games are determined by who actually has more vision. Because what does vision do? Vision lets you know if you're being ganked. Vision lets you know if the mid lane is roaming. Like, those are big things that actually cause a game to be a win or a loss. Oh, the enemy team is sneaking a dragon. Well, we can see that. We have a ward. Let's go collapse on them. If you don't have a ward there, you may not know. So, I would say vision is a very powerful thing. You'll see occasional high-rating content creators, you know, a famous one, obviously, House of FS, goes, I'm never going to buy a control ward. But you have to remember, like, one, you're not him. I'm even not him. He has a very distinct playstyle that he doesn't care if he dies 20 times. And, you know, ever since joining Lost Returns and taking the game a bit more serious, he's reduced his deaths a lot because you can't, that's not a sustainable high rating playstyle. Especially with all, you know, 2 years ago when AD Scion was a little bit broken with Prowler's Claw, it was a little bit more viable even. They kind of nerfed that playstyle away. So farm obviously is definitely catching up compared to what it was, which is great. You know, overall, I would say there's some not absolutely terrible farm scores. 110 for Severe isn't too bad, genuinely. And a lot of, you know, there is not such a thing of, oh, it's 10 minutes in or 50 minutes in, what farm should you be? It doesn't really exist. So again, I think there, by the way, happened again. I think you're fine. You could auto attack. There's the blind. I think it happened once again, by the way, that you opened with Q and she opened with W, so your initial bind got blocked. But the Fiora, she's not really adjusting, as I said, her play. You put a mushroom down, and obviously the effects are a bit weird in the replay, but I'm pretty sure when she's trying to flash to escape, she flashed straight into your mushroom that you put down in front of her. So I would presume with the item choice, you're going to go Malignance next. Enemy team does kill the first tower. So that Severe lane has actually killed tower, which is crazy to think, because obviously no one's died really in bot lane apart from the Lux. But if I had to say why or how, well, it's a Lux versus a Nami. It's a mage support, damage support, poke support versus an enchanter support. Obviously, as we've mentioned many times in the recent recent past, damage is king in Modern League, especially in supporting at the moment, to be honest. So yeah, so Fiora is 0-4. Oh, she just misses that mushroom, but she hits that one. So again, you did have a mushroom down there. The Jarvan is nearby, so you're going to do your best and hightail it out of there, which is a good decision. He is being a bit careful of mushrooms. You are being engaged on, but Shyvana is close by. I take this fight. Open with Ignite. Really good decision. You kill with the Shyvana. We are hearing spells, Lux flashes, ignites. Shyvana? Yeah, I think there is a world that Shyvana probably should have maybe come over on Lux, but never mind. She's doing pretty good work. She's got that Spirit Shojin. I think Shyvana should fight that. Oh, no. Severe's got both sums. Never mind. She was... Yeah, so Shyvana wasn't going to win that. Can you live? No, you can't. Unfortunate for her. Nami not really around. Viger was around-ish, but not close enough to really help. But yeah, so obviously the enemy bot lane is doing decent. Are we surprised that they're all the way near top lane? Yes and no. They killed bot lane tower, so I would naturally assume that they're going to lane swap. That, you know, it's a very common thing. No matter what rating you are, you have to remember the older a video game gets, the quality of play increases in every single rank. And where somewhere like Iron, a lot of people's errors in Iron will be mechanical skill, but they'll know a lot about the game. You know, they may have watched pro play a lot, they may have watched content creators a lot, they may have watched the game for a decade, but just mechanically they can't quite pull stuff off. But they'll know what to do. They'll know, oh, we killed bot lane tower. There's no point being here now. Well, I can tell you a decade ago, the worst players, you know, well, Iron didn't exist back then, but bronze players back in the day did not do that. They did not adjust in that way. Players do now. Players are more knowledgeable in general about League than they've ever been. And that's only going to increase and increase and increase as years go on. So yeah, so Severe does go down in the end. She's really overextended being here. So that's a weird thing for a Severe to be. I don't know why she's there. So realistically, what should the enemy team have done? With Severe being quite strong, she's farming well. She obviously killed her tower. You know, the big play that, if you will, what would have happened if it was a master game, Severe would either have taken over mid lane, or they would have even gone top lane, and then Fiora would have gone bot, and they would have just lane swapped it around, because there's no point Severe staying there. You're just going to overextend, you're just going to die. So that's the weird thing, is the Severe did the initial thing good, that they did lane swap them, and then that's where the bot lane was around this area and killed Shyvana. But then Severe after that went back to bot lane, overextended, and died. So it's a bit weird. And that's, again, the thing that you do see in lower rankings is sometimes the consistency is just not quite there. People have like the initial, oh, close, oh, very close. So obviously the natural thing it's worth saying about a Fiora specifically is her whole damage is the vital marks. Without her ultimate, it's the random one that goes on one of your sides. With her ultimate, she wants to try and complete all four. When you are fighting and you are ahead right now, so you're getting away with it, but naturally when you're fighting a Fiora, you can hug a wall, hug a terrain, and in theory, if you're hugging that wall really hard, you can deny that side of her ultimate, so she can never complete all four sides. It's a very effective thing to do. Right now, you're beating her just, and you know, it is close. It's not absolutely for free. I would try to kill this. Oh, we don't get the auto. It's a bit awkward with the CC. I think Jarvan's just going to make his way on out of there. There is that for now. Arguable play, I would say, by the Jarvan. Fiora's made her way over. Jarvan is still around, but he's missing a dragon. Especially Infernal Dragon. It's not a good thing to miss. And it's also worth mentioning, obviously, Shyvana is... they are really trying. Good flash. I kind of expected Jarvan to still be there, and I think you expected him to still be there too, so that's very good. But yeah, bad play by the Jarvan to stick around. There's no point. So yeah, very weird. But look, Shyvana is the dragon killing champion. She's a dragon herself, or half dragon. Whoa, there is everyone's top. Okay, this is where it just... This is like the Huzzy experience. Medusa's got the Huzzy experience. Does it make sense that there's 3 people top lane? Nope. They didn't fight a dragon. And it's worth mentioning, the weak one on the enemy team is the Fiora, and that's the lane that they naturally all went to. It doesn't make sense. And now they get caught after the fight and they die anyway. So Fiora probably will get a tier 2 tower here, but the enemy team just prioritized the lane at 0-6. Instead, they have strength in these 3 characters are pretty damn strong right now, and they didn't fight a dragon in an equal 4v4, which they would actually have had a decent chance winning. So that's where, again, really need, and you know, this isn't really for Medusa at that point. Medusa did fine, but that's when you can clearly tell the enemy team hasn't been thinking logically about it. It doesn't make sense to prioritize the lane of the 0-6. And she didn't even kill the tower. They didn't even get the tier 2. So Fiora's now grouping, and she's dead. Again, it's where no matter how your game is going, no matter what you're doing, no matter who you're playing, always think about it. I know that sounds a very basic tip, but it is true. You know, I see people playing in Master, in my own games. You can clearly tell they're on autopilot. You can clearly tell they're not really thinking about what's going on. And it is quite evident, I'd say, in this game, because that whole last 3 minutes didn't make sense. It really didn't. So, yeah. So Shyvana is asking for help from Teemo in the fact that I think what the Shyvana wants you to do is go bot lane and start mushrooming up Adakan. So what I would do is, I think what you're doing is fine. I would kill the tower. And then what I would personally do, because something like a Fiora who's 0-7, she in theory will just split push. So what I would personally do, and that's a Zerath ulti. Why? What's he doing? There's a lot of people top lane again. You do have mushrooms, but again, I don't know why there's so many people top, always trying to kill you. But you end up with a kill, so it's a 1-for-1, and there's a bunch of people top lane, and Adakan has spawned. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, that could be partially the Teemo effect, partially. But I would say, just as a small tip, if you're playing more Teemo, and I think Medusa does play Teemo occasionally, if you're against something that is known as they split push a lot, put a mushroom like here, for example, and then put a mushroom over here. Don't put them all together if you're wanting to leave lane, because a person cannot split push if they don't have a wave. Oh, bomba. But obviously, if you put all your stuff together, like if you put all your mushrooms together and they red trinket it, all your mushrooms die, they keep the wave. So if you spread out on the line to see like where minions are walking, put on the line every so often, just put mushrooms down, and you will thin the wave without being there, thus kind of pushing against the counter pick, or pushing against the split push without even needing to be there. And that's just a little tip. So what I would say right now, there's no major objective really, so you don't need to group up right now. But in the near future, I do want to see you grouping up. I do want to see mushrooms going down near objectives. So these are kind of barony ones, which is good. But I'm going to Baron is spawning in 2 minutes, just to make it very clear. Mushrooms last 5 minutes, which I would say is a bit crazy. I don't know if they should last 5 minutes, but they do. But yeah, I definitely feel getting a bit more team involved is the next step. You've done a really good job overall, especially the last 5 minutes has been very weird. The enemy team has been top lane a lot, and it hasn't really made sense. Yes, they've killed you twice, but they lost an Infernal Dragon and an Adakan. And now the Fiora is grouping, which also doesn't make sense. So it is some weird play going on. Big fight, but you are on your way. Which is good. Kind of a wasted ult. Zerath is ulting for wolves, man. There you go. Good job. I thought that's what... Honestly, when we saw his ultimate last, I glanced around the map, and that's what I thought I saw. But I didn't want to say it just in case it sounded crazy. The Zerath is jungle farming with his ult, while he's standing on top of the camp. I'm gonna be honest, that's a new one for me. I've played this game a very long time. I've never seen that before. But oh well. We see something new every day, and we learn something new every day. So Dragon is now being done. You are so close to level 16. Again, the XP bar is down here on replays. So killing Dragon will give you level 16, which is lovely, because now you have rank 3 mushrooms. So each mushroom right now is doing 628 damage, which is great. Like, that's a lot of damage. Enemy team going... Oh god, Fiora. So again, honestly, I would say the Fiora tilt may be a factor now, if it hasn't been in the recent past. She's a split pushing champion, straight up. She's not a team fighting champion. She's really bad at team fights. and she's going to have a really hard time even team fighting against a Veigar and an army. So it doesn't make sense, her grouping. Obviously, she's 2-10. She's having a rough game. Baron, to me, should be on the cards for red team. I think what you should do, and you've done it a little bit there, mushroom. Just start creating that mushroom minefield. Oh, this is a good flank. I like this. So you are potentially going to get the Severe. You do. Wonderful. Let's continue the fight. Lux hasn't paid attention that you're right there. And you get another kill, double kill. And Jarvan now is also in trouble. Fiora just teleported into a team fight and she has died again. And Baron has been pinged. So that is the correct play. Kai'Sa probably should go over to the Baron because she'll be a lot of the DPS. But yeah. So as for Medusa, if we want to specifically, what do we want to see next game in the next replay from Medusa? Are we jungle farming again? Is this a bot? They all are legitimately aimed identically to each other. I know you could do that by just keeping your mouse still, but that is a bit weird. There's something weird about that Zerath account. Obviously, we are in Iron 2, so you know, there are some just odd things going down in Iron, and I'm aware of that, and I think everyone's aware of that. But we've now seen this Zerath ultimate 3 times specifically to kill jungle camps. That's weird. No matter what rank we're in, that's just weird. Okay, so the Zerath just tried... He either did steal red, or the... Okay, so the Zerath is either trolling... Well, I think there's some form of trolling going on no matter what. But there is some stuff going on with this Zerath. I don't know why they're taking it out on the Jarvan, though. But, because, like, Zerath is 4-1. The bot lane was doing okay. They were doing better earlier in the game. The Fiora is the one that's had a really rough one. But it seems the Zerath is punishing the Jarvan more than anyone else. Which is weird. But, yeah. As for build... Teemo, and I'll go over the points for Medusa specifically in a second. I would say Liandry's is very good for Teemo. That burn damage is invaluable, so I would personally, instead of a Shadow Flame earlier, like Shadow Flame Dome is good for Teemo, but Liandry's is insanely good for Teemo. So I would not sleep on Liandry's personally. I just think it's a fantastic item when it extends your mushrooms amazingly well. Enemy team is saving Private Fiora has gotten a bunch killed. So not worth to save a Fiora for the sake of 3 of your team. So overall, not bad at all. But yeah, for the points from Medusa, the big one, you know, is what we said about a lot in lane phase, is recognize play patterns of your opponent. Every single player typically has a pattern in, well, pretty much all ranks up to the absolute peak. You know, someone like Faker, he may have some patterns, but he'll be very good at hiding them. And he won't be doing obvious patterns every single game. So, you know, when they're playing pro play and, you know, let's say before a Worlds match, people will be watching Faker play and trying to identify patterns that he does to tell their players. But I would say you could obviously identify what this Fiora's pattern was. She opened with W. And I think for you, I don't know if you recognize that quickly enough, because you were opening a lot of the time with your Q. So where she was doing it every single time, practically without fail, I would say read that pattern. Do not open with your Q. Let an auto attack get blocked, if anything. And then, oh, now, you know, because typically what she was trying to do is use W, hit you with W, block your Q, but then try to hit you with it, which is a slow. And then I'm going to go all in because you're now slowed as a ranged champion. But what you could do is let yourself get W'd, you know, don't use your Q yet. And then if she goes onto you in melee, well, because you haven't used your Q yet, oh, I can now Q you when you're in melee range, and I can just kill you. But, you know, next video won't be, you know, a Teemo versus Fiora game. It was very unlikely. So I'd say no matter what you're playing, or no matter what you're playing against, recognize play patterns and adjust your play to what your opponent is doing. Obviously, the level 1 play wasn't the best, so always, I would say, if you're playing top lane, the 2 most, in theory, greedy lanes or roles in League, in solo queue, are AD carry and top. Those are the two greediest in Modern League. Historically, it used to be mid, but it's not anymore. Mid has become much more of a team role, a roaming role, than it ever has, well, ever used to be. Support obviously is support, and junglers, they play for their team a lot of the time. So the two most greedy are AD carries in bot lane, trying to power farm, try to become that hyper carry monster, and top lane. Do not underestimate the greed of top lane. They are the ones that want to, oh, I've killed my opponent's tier 1, then tier 2. Right, I'm going bot lane to kill the tier 2, get out of my way. And that is what modern top lane is all about. So be greedy in top lane. Don't sacrifice your own lane for that. So Zerath, of all people, teleported top lane to split push. Something definitely odd happened to this Zerath. Obviously, we don't know what. Something happened, clearly. Which is a bit weird. Because, again, the Zerath was 4-1 and still is only 4-2. But obviously, it's easy not to feed when you're not being involved. So he was 4-1 and then just never got involved in the game. So, yeah. You know, farming well because he's just side laning the whole game. Stealing jungle as well, which is, again, a bit weird. So it is, by the way, Infernal Dragon Soul for red team. So, you know, someone walking on a mushroom, it's going to really hurt overall. Viger gets himself caught, but the enemy team is now being turned around on. Severe goes down. There's the mushroom. And I think you nearly one-shot the Zerath, if I'm not mistaken, with one mushroom. Or maybe two. So yeah. But yeah, overall, not too bad. Presume next item would be a death cap. Which, you know, death cap is good. I still think build-wise, Aligondries could definitely fit in there. Whoa. Hello. You're 4 levels down. So, like, that's a perfect example. Obviously, you're so far ahead, Infernal Dragon, so it doesn't matter. You're always going to win that fight. But if you hug this wall, you would deny the right vital of Fiora ultimate, and that would have made it not as close. You know, that's how crazy I'd say Fiora is as a champion. She's mega feeding. She's items behind. You're 4 levels ahead. You had Ignite advantage, and she still got you to like a quarter health. Fiora's a strong champion, you know. So Baron is now being killed. Going back, we are going to purchase Death Cap. So again, Death Cap has been purchased. So we're rocking nearly 800 ability power on Teemo. Mushroom, by the way, does 850 damage, and that does not include the Malignant's pool on the floor. That does not include the Infernal Dragon Soul kind of boom. So you're talking it's probably going to be well over 1,000 damage per mushroom if someone walks into one. So, you know, someone like Lux, who's rocking 2,100 health, roughly 2 mushrooms, and I would say it's minimum going to be 1,000 damage per mushroom. It could even be like closer to 1,500 when you actually equate for a bunch of stuff. You know, oh, Fiora. So yeah, I presume just tilt has happened. If you're 15 deaths, you honestly got to be very close going 2 and 15, even if you're not actually inting. And I would say this Fiora, don't think she's actually inted this game. I think there's been a mixture of tilt, but just a lot of bad decision making, to be honest. So I don't think we've witnessed raw I'm running it down inting at all. But yeah, you guys are going for the end. Oh, Nami ultimate there would have been really good to stop that. Can we kill the Jarvan? Flash, and there, yes we can. And that in theory should be the game. Putting some mushrooms down for some free fall. Oh, watch this. You hit him. Oh. He was just about to dance there. So I think that probably does. And there's another kill with the mushroom. I think that little there, he flashed to then go to dance, if I'm not mistaken. The Zerath was definitely trolling. Not really sure why, but it is what it is. But as for Medusa, I'd say overall some good play. Obviously questionable level 1, but let's not do that again. But overall, decent confidence. But if anything, actually could have been more aggressive. And I know you've gone 13 and 4. You could be more aggressive. Your opponent died 15 times. Yeah, there was room for it in lane phase. The moment that she wasted W, pounce. Again, I've always said one of the things that differentiates low rating, high rating is recognizing mistakes is one thing. Actually recognizing a mistake that an opponent has made, but then also capitalizing on it. a lot of the time in low rating, more mistakes happen, but they don't get capitalized on. The higher rating you go, less mistakes happen, but the moment someone makes a mistake, bam, capitalized on it. The enemy team loses the game. Like, that's what it's all about. And that Fiora was making a lot of mistakes, and you could have capitalized on it even more. So overall, those are the two big things I would say is recognizing play patterns and capitalizing on mistakes when they are apparent. Those are the two big areas. I'd say build-wise, specifically on Teemo, do not underestimate Leandries. I think Leandries is very good. Other than that, you know, don't do the level 1 play. Be a bit more greedy with especially your level 1. In high rating, it's worth mentioning, just to kind of say, if I did that in Master as Teemo and I was against a Fiora, my lane phase would be over. It'd be that simple. My lane phase would be over. If I was going into a Fiora without... She got a level 2 advantage, I don't have Flash and Ignite against a Fiora, I just lost top lane. So it is that important, you know? And if you've got aspirations to rank up, treat it as a high rating game. Even if you're an Iron, treat it as a high rating game. Play as well as you can and maximize what you can do every game, because that will help you as you continue to climb. If you treat this as a pure Iron game, and yes, it is one, but if you treat it as one, but then you manage to rank up to gold, you'll find it difficult if you're not treating every game like what they could be, in my opinion. But anyway, that's gonna be it. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, do throw a like on it, through comment, through a subscribe. We'll say this video will be uploaded this week, and just to remind people, if you made it all to the whole way of the end of the video, you must be a hardcore supporter. So again, thank you for that. This Saturday is day 1 of my paternity leave subathon. So it's November 22nd, starting at 10 a.m. UK time on twitch.tv/huzzygames. Please do come over, and yeah, I would love to see you there. Obviously, any support that you can throw would be amazing, because obviously it is for my paternity week. Well, it's for my paternity leave for 2 weeks when baby pleb is born. And obviously, you know, I don't get paid paternity leave, so it's basically a subathon to earn a little bit more money now, so when I have to take 2 weeks off, I'm not worried about the finances of all of it. But yeah, thank you guys so much. We're going to play a bunch of community games during it, so if you've never played a game with me, now is your chance, because that's going to be a bit of it. And it's also worth mentioning, if I remember, we have a Riot challenge that you guys can join me and my community and earn yourself some prizes. And you just have to join my community, and any Summoner's Rift game mode counts. Swift play, normal games, draft, ranked flex, ranked solo queue. Those are things that count. Unfortunately, no ARAM, but it's basically for the winter map. So the event starts, I think by the time this video is uploaded, it will have started. So any Summoner's Rift map, and unfortunately it's only for Europeans, so if you click the link, log into your Riot account, you could join my community if you're on an eligible server, which I think is EU Northeast, EU West, and 3 others. I can't remember what they are right now, but yeah, that's gonna be it. Like and subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace.
Welcome to the Rift, where the legends play. It's Huzzy Games bringing skill every day. From tips to tricks and play so fine, you'll learn the game and have a good time. Thanks for watching, you're the real MVP. Hit that like and sub, join the family tree. Like, comment, and subscribe. Keep the Huzzy dream alive.